say, we went out at about 12 to play golf. We were in the pub by about 1:45. We just couldn't be bothered. And we had a few beers. It's a Friday night. Friday, sorry. And next thing you know, about 6, 7 o'clock, I got a message on my phone saying, Paul Weller, I've heard a lot about you. I would like to meet you and see some of your magic tricks. Just ignored it. I thought it was a load of rubbish, mate, because as you would, wouldn't you? You thought someone was winding you up.
All right, and team, welcome back. Welcome back to the Scratch Record podcast. Tonight we have a guest that's not in the industry in the way that you think he is by listening to this podcast. The guest that we have probably has the best repertoire for supporting artists, but not in the regular way that someone on our podcast would. Today we are joined by the Magic Mod. How are we, mate?
Very well, mate. I love that intro. Thank you. You've done your homework.
I have. Don't you worry
about that. We'll soon find out.
Well, I think as Elliot said, like in the intro, I think this is one that like we're both as excited to hear the story as everyone else, because it's like normally we do the research, we kind of got our heads around it, but we're not baffled, but intrigued by your whole sort of thing, what you do and how it's come about. So I guess for sort of us and everyone else, give us a summary of what it actually is that you do. So like when you're supporting these people, how does it all work? You know, how's it all come about?
Yeah, of course, mate. So, I mean, I've been very, very fortunate to have supported some of the probably biggest names in the music industry. And the way it happens is, well, I'll tell you from the beginning, you know, I don't know how long this podcast goes on for, but if you've got 3 hours, mate, we're all right.
Till you know what I mean?
But it started off the first ever, when I've always wanted to be a magician, and I was always loved my music. And I found out I wanted to try and link my two loves together, which was music and magic. And what I used to do is I used to go to indie nights, and I just used to do tricks to people in the crowd, and it always used to get a great reaction. And then one day I did when did Stone Roses play Finsbury Park? It was, I got the ticket on the wall somewhere, God knows how long ago, years ago. And I was performing to a group of, first it was 10 people, and then I looked around and it was like 50, 60 people, just had these people, like a big circle around me. And I thought, you know what, this might actually work. This could work, like doing music, doing magic to a music crowd. And then I got involved with a few people like Steve Craddock, Promotion Colour Scene. I used to go to his gigs, and backstage I used to perform tricks to him. And he's been a great supporter of me, Steve. And I'm really, you know, grateful of his support. And from that, I got in with Paul Weller. And one of the things he said a few weeks after we got to meet each other and a few chats, he said, would you like to do a few dates? Like, would you like to do your magic on like a couple of my shows? I thought, this is unbelievable. A guy who growing up was my absolute hero, and now I'm very lucky to call a friend, is asking me to perform at his shows. And I mean, there is no greater honour, in my opinion, than to perform or to be on a lineup with someone you idolise. So I did 2 nights in. Shit, what happened there?
That's going to be a great clip.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. I think
no dramas.
Good, that's funny.
We all right? Sorry about that. Your head's all right, boys, yeah?
Yeah. Bit of a fall, but we're sound.
Yeah, dizzy.
Don't make a claim, will you? We so sorry about that. I did 2 nights in. It was either 2 nights in Hammersmith Apollo or 2 nights in Brighton. I think it was 2 nights in Hammersmith. I did the Thursday and the Friday, and then it was Brighton on the Saturday. It's either that way or the other way. I can't quite remember, but because just to be there was an honour. But as I said, at that time I wasn't on the stage. I was going around the auditorium and performing with the crowd, mingling in and performing backstage. And it was so lovely to have a shout out on the Mod Fathers socials after, saying they were grateful that I was performing magic. And after that, I thought, you know what? I want to take it to the next level. I want to try and, now I've done it in the crowd, I know it works. I want to try and get onto that stage.
Mm.
And I did this gig for Virgin Radio. They were doing like a launch party or a birthday party sort of thing. And they had Feeder there, and they had some DJs. And who else did they have there? They had some other acoustic artist, but I can't quite remember because I turned up a bit late. They wanted me later on, so I missed that one, but I saw Feeder play. And all of a sudden, I went back to the dressing room, which wasn't a dressing room, it was an office, because they had it in, the party was, you know where the Shard is?
Yeah.
Weren't there. It was next to it. They've got a place called like the news office or the news building or something like that. And they had it
the big shiny ones near there.
Yeah, mate, right on the top level, and the view was unbelievable. And this dressing room they gave me was an office where they have meetings in, and the view was just spectacular all over London. It was, I just couldn't get what I couldn't. It was just speechless, literally. Like the view was incredible. And I looked down on my phone, and Carl Barrett gave me a call. I thought, that's strange. I thought he was on tour. So anyway, I called him back, and Pete Doherty actually answered, and they said that they wanted me on tour. And that was it, mate. After that was when the tour happened. I ended up spending just under a month, I think it was, on tour with them. Did over 10 shows. I've got all the stuff. I keep everything, mate, from the signs each night, the signs on the rooms, the maps telling you where you got to go for the food and that, the timetables. We had a little itinerary book. I kept everything because it was a dream come true, and it literally was. And how it went down, listen, it's like new up and coming bands, isn't it? Some people are going to enjoy the music. Some people are going to think it's a load of shit. Are we allowed to swear on this?
Yeah.
I try not to. I don't often swear.
No, it's actively encouraged.
Oh. So I like I said, some bands are you're not going to like. And for me, I think everyone likes Magic, but they didn't initially think, hang on, what's going to happen here? I think everyone was intrigued to what I was going to do. So when I got on the stage and started performing, I tell you what, it was like I've never not been on a stage. It's like I've done it a million times, believe it or not. Like the lads, I remember looking over, the first gig we played was Warrington Park Hall. I remember looking over, and on the balcony, we had all the Liberty, every single one of the members was looking down, watching. And I thought, there's no bigger boost. I had that crowd watching me. And I felt I did really well, considering that was my first time on a stage for a music crowd. And I think the crowd warmed to me because, end of the day, I'm a music fan. I love my music, and I've been very fortunate to have run my talent onto a stage. And then, so I did that for a month. And then after that, I was with Reverend and the Makers. Funny story. And if I'm going off on one, by the way, because I tend to talk a lot, because I love talking about it.
We're going to pick into all these stories more, I think, but I'm liking the run through. It's ideal. So you crack on.
All right, cool. So like I said, I love a chat. I'm a bit like my mum, mate. When you ask her one question, it end up talking for about 3 or 4 hours.
That's ideal, mate.
Perfect for a podcast, mate. That is works of charm.
The modcast. How about that?
You've solved the title. That's sorted.
That's the hardest part.
John from Reverend and the Makers got in touch, and I did 2 nights with them. Supposed to have been 3, but I had a booking for something else when they played Leeds. So I played Nottingham Rock City and Liverpool O2 Academy. Again, 2 lovely venues, and I've been so grateful. And I know I keep saying it, but it's an honour. The venues I've played at is a magician's dream, mate. And Rock City was the first night, and I was speaking to John. I said, you know what, mate, I fancied stage diving, when you do heavyweight champion of the world. He said, yeah, I don't think you do it, mate. I said, I say now, I fancy it. And I remember I was just about to leave, and he was playing it, because I was staying from Nottingham. I drove up to my mate was in Manchester. I drove to Manchester to then stay there, and then we played Liverpool the next day. And I said, do you know what? I said, I'm doing it. So I dropped my bags right in the dressing room. I ran up to the side of the stage, and he sort of looked. There's a video actually on the internet, and I've got it on the Instagram, where he says to the crowd, "Are you ready?" And he didn't even know I was there. He just looked to the side. He sees me and he goes, "Are you ready?" I thought, fuck it, I've got to do it now, innit?
Yeah, you can't.
I remember I ran off, but I went to just run to the edge of the stage and jump. But then when I ran to the edge of the stage, I stopped because it was bigger than I thought. I thought, oh shit, I can't back out now. So I sort of jumped, land on the barrier, and then jump in, and someone catches me, and then next thing you know, I've just gone bang. And when I come up, I broke like may have 2 or 3 on my ribs, and I had to drive then to, like I said, to Manchester to stay. And all night I was complaining. I was like, hey, I think I've got to go to hospital. I'm in a bad way. Like, to the bit where I was like coughing up a bit of blood in that. And then I had these I had big bruising all across my rib cage. And the next day when we played Liverpool, I was so bad. I was like, mate, I don't think I can do it. I'm really bad. Like, I was walking like a pensioner. You know what I mean? But in the end, I ended up doing the show, and I think it adds to the fact, that a magician, stage diving and breaking his ribs. Maybe I should have done it in the first place, but made a good little video, to be fair.
Yeah, man, what a story that is now. That's cool.
Yeah. And then after that, I did a festival. I've always done a lot of festivals, so I leave the festivals out. I just carry on with the tours. I did I did Pete Doherty's solo tours, and I've got some of the posters on my wall because they were probably some of my favourite memories on that solo tour. And I think that in itself, because I think it was a year and a half after the Reverend and the Makers tour, and I think I as a performer definitely was more mature. I knew how to react to a crowd, and I think the act that I did was polished to perfection, where I knew I could have done it with my eyes closed rather than going in there and winging it, which I normally do, which normally works. But I went with a game plan when I did the Pete Doherty shows, and we performed at Leeds Academy. No, it went Leeds University. Where was the other one? Manchester Ritz, lovely venue, very lovely venue. Rock City again, and Kentish Town Ballroom in London, which the crowd, I got this amazing photo. You can't really see it, but it's an amazing photo. I asked for all the stage lights up, and it's just like a sea. I think it was like 4,000 people or something like that, just a sea of people and just me. It's that photo there, you might not be able to see it, but the photo was unbelievable. Like, I always say, I say to people, I've been so grateful for the gigs I've done, but do you know what? That photo alone makes it all worthwhile, mate. That's a magician who started off with a Paul Daniels magic set, right? Who has always wanted to perform. When I was at school, the teachers always said, this deck of cards, like a deck of cards, you ain't gonna achieve nothing with that. And my mind was, do you know what? That's my motivation, because people always used to say, you never see it, you never hear of a really successful magician. Well, that's because you're not really looking into it. Magicians over the time, there are so many successful ones, but you don't hear about them because you don't really dig deep into how successful a magician can be. So for me to have that, mate, fucking hell, what a dream come true. Honestly, it really is. I'll pause now for a bit so you can get a word in.
Well, I mean, I've got literally like a million questions.
Yeah, I've got to process it.
Ask what you want.
Comprehension task.
I think the best way, I mean, we like to keep it chronological anyway, is I quite like, and you've just mentioned it, is sort of the school days. So I'm intrigued as to sort of number one, what inspired that? Because I don't know, I wouldn't have even thought about using a deck of cards in school. Like, what sort of started that, and how did you find it in school? Like, were you sort of, did people look down on you for it and almost like bully you for it a little bit, or was it all quite a bit of fun?
Do you know what? No to the bully. I mean, of course, listen, mate, you get your prats, you get dickheads in every school, and some people, of course, took the piss. But then if I listen to, I mean, you only got to go on social media these days, and people are very quick to put people down when they're doing well. And I'm all for, if someone's doing well, you keep them doing well. You keep giving them words of encouragement rather than putting people down. We live in a world where people just love to see someone fail. And I'm not about that. I love to see everyone succeed, whether it be musicians, ballerine dancers, footballers. I'm all for seeing people succeed, because I think that's what life's about. And as I said, we get a lot of people who love to see people fail. So when I was at school, we used to have some people who loved what I did, and we used to have people who weren't bullied but hated what I did. Thought, what the shit this is, hanging around with cars. Look at that prat. But if I listened to what people said, I wouldn't do half the things I do, mate. You know what I mean? I mean, the dress sense, like the mod scene, it's so out there and outrageous. Some of the styles, people are always going to take the piss. But I fucking love it, mate. Why do I want to be the same as everyone else? I want to stand out. So back to school, my earliest memories were I always used to take a deck of cards, and what I did was I was sort of used to be a bit of a hustler, like where not so much with money because we were only kids, but with like we always used to take our packed lunches. So I used to be like, do you remember wagon wheels?
Yeah. Another one.
Yeah, man. Wagon wheels and the penguins with like the shit jokes on the back.
Yeah.
That's where I get most of my material from, my fucking penguin, to be fair. But I used to do like mucking about, doing like the 3-card Monty where you have like 2 jokers and 1 queen, and you've got to keep your eyes on the queen. I'd be doing stuff like that. Like doing betting for like the chocolate bars or the bag of crisps or the sweets. And
love it.
And honestly, mate, I was proper hustling. And then we used to do this thing where the back of my I went to a school called Ifield Community College, and at the back, Ifield Middle first, and then I went to Ifield Community College. At the back of Ifield Middle was this big science block bit, and they always used to have the windows open. And one day, because I learned how to throw cards, someone said to me, "I bet you can't, throw a card through that window." And I did it. I was practicing till probably, I don't know, like maybe a week later, I could do it. And all these people used to watch me. They used to wait till it was like break time, and they used to all gather around, right? And I used to throw these cards and get it straight through the window. And it was like it was the top floor. I used to remember I was throwing so many cards in there to the point where we used to have, do you remember one of the first camera phones, I think, was it a Nokia one where it used to, you could slide it one way and slide it the other way, and it turns into like a video camera.
Yeah.
We used to have one of my friends up there, and I was really trying to get a good like a good shot of me throwing the cards. It was unbelievable. And then I used to, as I said, I always used to have a deck of cards. Always had a deck of cards, mate. Like still today, I still carry a deck of cards everywhere, because that is what has made me achieve so much in this world. A deck of 52 playing cards, So I'm very grateful, and I will always carry a deck of cards with me, because you never know. There's always, like sometimes I'm sitting on the train on the way to a gig, right? And there'd be like, I remember I was on the way to a gig in, I can't think whereabouts it was. I think it was Camden I was performing, and there was this old bloke and an old woman. I think it made me think of my granddad, to be fair, or my uncle. Sorry, my uncle. My uncle was one of my best friends, and I just went up to him and I started chatting. And then they asked me why I was going to London. I said I'm doing a show, and then I got my cards out, and then I remember showing them some old card tricks, and they loved it. And I think magic's one of them things. Name another job. I don't class it as a job. I class it as something I love to do, where you can perform to people and they will remember that. Some of the magic they will remember for the rest of their life. Like you could go to a gig and you remember a certain song and think, yeah, I remember that. But you're going to hear that certain song over and over again, whether it be on a vinyl, on a CD, on a TV, on YouTube. How many times have you seen a magician perform in front of you and you will remember that trick the rest of your life if you like?
Very personal connection, isn't it? Like,
oh God, mate, it is. And that's what I like. You can get right up into someone and show them something. And like you said, it's a personal trick, and it's something that if it's done properly, mate, they will remember it for the rest of their life. And that is, for me, that is what magic's about. I mean, I get on Twitter, I do a thing called Magic Mod Monday, and it's just gone from strength to strength. When I first started doing it, I used to get like 500-600 views, and I was like buzzing off it, because for me, it doesn't matter how many people see it. There could be someone out there and it could make their day, And next thing you know, it's like 2,000. I'm like, brilliant. Then it's 10,000. I'm like, oh, okay. Then it's 20. Then it was 30. And it's 40. And then like last week's one got something ridiculous, like 180,000 or something like that. And I've been doing this for a period of, I think this is like the 3rd year now. And I've smashed over like 4 million views since I've done it. And it's constant. It's constant. Every Monday is a new trick. I won't do the same trick. I'll do a similar trick, a different way, but I won't be doing the same trick, word for word, trick for, like trick for trick. And
what intrigued you to start doing that? Like what was almost like because I know obviously social media is huge nowadays, but it seems like magicians don't do lots with it. I feel like it's not something that people really focus on when it comes to magicians. You don't really see them popping up apart from yourself. What kind of spurred you to start this Magic Mondays?
Magic Mod Monday, all right, mate. If you're going to say it so properly.
Sorry, Magic Mod Monday. Oh, is he?
That's all right.
Oh.
That's all right. By the way, get on them flip flops.
Yeah, that's jobby.
Get on them. No, sorry. What inspired me? Do you know what, mate? It's musicians can post their music, right? And they could say, "This is what I've done at a gig." For me, if I posted a trick that I did at a gig, it wouldn't come across as well as if you were actually there, if that makes sense. Like, they might think, oh, that's good, but it wouldn't come across the same. So what I wanted to try and do is to make something which was sort of personal. So I have a little song in the background every week. You know, I've gone from stuff from like the Jam, the Kinks, the Who, the Rifles. I go through every sort of band that I love. Like the Verve, Oasis, of course, Stone Roses, everything. I will have a little song in the background at a nice little level, and then I'll perform the trick. And it's like, people have said it's good because it's almost like I'm there. You know, they can have their headphones in. It's almost like I'm in front of them, because the way the trick is filmed is my mum's, pulling out a card, or my girlfriend or whoever was filming at the time is pulling out a card, but they're filming it. So it's like it's a point of view sort of thing, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And what made me want to do it is that I wanted to get as much magic content out there as I could, but I wanted to make it a brand. So rather than doing like trick a day, fuck me, everyone does trick a day. A lot of magicians do trick a day. You get musicians doing track of the day. I thought, right, I want to come up with something. Mod Sunday, no, that's shit, innit? Friday Magic, no, that's even worse. Magic Mod Monday, shit, that's quite good. Magic Mod Monday, Triple M, Magic Mod Monday, that's brilliant. Right, let's do it. Just did it. And as I said, when I first did it, I was getting next to nothing. But the thing is, with social media, if you're willing to put the hard work and the graft in, stuff like it will happen. If you put the seeds in and you carry on watering it, the next thing you know, you will get a good following. And that's what's happened. And I'm very grateful. As I say, I know I keep using that word, but it's a dream come true to be doing what I'm doing. From what was a hobby to now a career it's incredible. And that's really why I wanted to do it. I didn't want to do a trick every day, because, as I said, that would get boring. And I think people have now, especially over the last year now, through lockdown, people have got so intrigued and they love it when it's Sunday. They're like, right, they tweet me Magic Mod Monday tomorrow, looking forward to it, and stuff like this. And I've made some fantastic followers from it. Badly Drawn Boy, God, brilliant songwriter, and he's been one of my favorite. He's been probably one of the best supporters. The Brian Jones Massacre, I got Anton from it, messaging me and sharing all my stuff. Dino from the Rifles themselves, Horace from the Specials. The list goes on. These are people who, as I say, are so supportive, but they've done great stuff in their career, and now they're willing to support a magician, and it's just incredible. And that's why social media, if it's used right, can be so amazing. And do you know what? I know you get a lot of your divs on social media who use it just to troll people and stuff like that. And I've been on the receiving end. I mean, every other week I get someone telling me how they think the trick's done, and, oh no, magic's not real. No fucking shit. Do you reckon if magic was real, mate, I wouldn't be getting a car or a plane everywhere? I've been getting on the magic carpet and flying about. You know what I mean? If I can make money appear out of thin air, then I would. Of course, magic's not real. The thing is, it's an entertainment, and the way you do it is an entertaining way. But I think, especially on social media, the good ways goes well over the bad, mate. There's more good people and great people on social media than there is dickheads, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah. To be fair, mate, I think it's your mum being the magic assistant that's getting the views in, because her reactions to some of it is fucking hilarious.
More people say your mum's the star than me, so I might just give up.
Yeah, that's what we were saying. No, it's class. And I think that's...
Thank you.
What I'm intrigued with is obviously how you've taken this platform, But then when you say you were performing on stage at some of these tours, how do you translate that Magic Mod Monday style of close up, sleight of hand magic to a stage performance? Like how did you go about trying to do that?
Yeah, so it has to be a big illusion, or not an illusion. I don't like that word. It has to be a big effect. Mm-hmm. So, like Tommy Cooper, he was both funny, and he was very entertaining with how he did the trick. So I wanted to come across as doing a similar thing, but I would never ever copy a routine, because he's in a league of his own, and I would never want to try and I wouldn't do it justice. The way he did it is superb. So I have to make something which I will think people would love to see, which will be fun, both funny and get everyone in on it. So I just do stuff like, I do the milk jug one with a newspaper, which I love. It always gets such a good reaction. And now I do one where I get people up on stage, and I do big effects rather than, if I use a deck of cards, and I'm performing in a 6,000 capacity stadium or whatever, people ain't going to necessarily see everything, are they? If I'm like, oh, can you see that at the back? They ain't going to see that. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which it'll look good close up. Like if I say to you, like look at the jack. Oh no, it changes into the 9. It looks good close up. You won't be able to see that at the back.
Yeah.
So I needed to do something that is great for a wider audience in a like a good capacity. So I just do big effects, mate, but I make it like 80% the story, selling the trick, and then 20% is the trick. Because if you sell a good story and you make it funny and entertaining, they don't give a shit what the trick is, mate. The trick could be shit, but the way I'm getting everyone intrigued and what's happening now, I've already got them. Doesn't matter what the trick is, mate. They're already there. They're watching you, and that's the best thing. So I had to. Don't get me wrong. It took a while to think what tricks are right for stage, because not everything's gonna look right. On the first tours with the Libertines, we had like a big screen in the background with like a, when you go to some festivals, you have like a big screen, and it'd be the front man. You'll be able to see the actual band on the big screen. Same as that. They were zooming in on my hands though, so they could see like what I was doing with the cards and stuff like that, and it was perfect. And in the long run, I'm hoping to try and get out and do something on a bigger scale. But you got to learn to. I mean, I've been running for a long time now. I first started to walk, now it's running, and I want to just keep going and keep going. And I'm very ambitious in my life. Like I remember going to I remember seeing DMAs at Kentish Town once, and I went with one of my friends. And when I walked out there, I went, I want to play there. And it was like literally a year after with Pete Doherty, I performed there. And the same thing happened when I left like Brighton Centre. I've always loved Brighton Centre. I said, how good would it be to have a magician on that stage? It was when I went and watched, funny enough, I saw Noel Gallagher perform there. I said, how good would it be to perform on there? And next thing you know, 3 years later with the Libertines, I performed on there. And it's stuff's a dream come true, mate. The thing is with magic is there is no, like in football, where's the top you can get? The Premier League. Once you're there, that's it really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Magic, you could go as far as you want, mate. You can do whatever you want. I mean, look at Dynamo. He's achieved, the stuff he's achieved is incredible. And good luck to him. I always used to take the piss, and when people say, "Oh, what do you think of Dynamo?" I'd be like, "Who's she?" Just for a laugh. But realistically, I've got the best respect for him because he's done something which he's got people talking about magic again, and he's done more good for magic than a lot of people out there. So I've got nothing but respect for the geezer. I remember meeting him in Brighton. I went to one of his shows. He did he did arena tour, and then he did I think he's the first magician to ever perform at the O2. I think that's right. But it's just incredible, mate, what he's done. And who knows? One day you never know. I might be able to perform on a bigger scale. You just don't know what's around the corner. You just got to keep knocking on that door, and that's why I never give up, mate. I mean, I'm 31 now. I've been doing it since I was 6 years old, and I'm always learning. You know, you're always learning new tricks. You're always learning new effects. You're always learning new material. You know,
and that ambition's really sick to see. Like, because even like we see it in musicians and people like that, and you don't normally get to sit down and have a chat like this with a magician. And when you were younger and you were doing these tricks at, 16, 17, that sort of age, and you were really getting into it, it was feeling something that you wanted to do more as a career or something. When did you realize, right, this is a point where I can now take this as a job? Was that when you first did the stuff with Paul Weller, or was it just before that?
No,
when did you think, right, my ambitions are actually coming to fruition?
It was a bit before then. I mean, way before I met Paul. I managed to meet Mr. Weller in 2015. I've got a poster on my wall. I've always got little things on my wall that remind me of significant events. And I would have been 25, and I started doing magic when I was, like trying to get out there, do some gigs and that when I was about 18, and then moved it on when I was about 21. But I remember being at a party, and there was a bloke there doing some tricks, and someone said, "Get your cards out, you'll wipe the floor with him." And I'm not like that. I'm not like one of these arrogant people who go, "Oh, like, look at me, I can do all this and do that." I'm not about that. If people want to see a trick, I'm all for entertaining people. And I remember the bloke, he was a bit pissed, and he was trying all these tricks, and mate, they were awful. But I was just, humouring him, going along with it, like, "Oh, that's quite good," stuff like this. And then I had a deck of cards, and I don't know, it's just something was in me, and I just managed to do like a whole hour without it. Like, I didn't even know the hour was just went like that, and just did a whole hour of entertaining with a deck of cards. It wasn't even my deck of cards. And then I thought, do you know what? That weren't bad. I could probably do this. Like, if I polished up the act and found and had a bit of a routine, I could probably do this on a bit of a bigger scale, maybe around nightclubs or so. And then that's how it happened. I used to do my tricks around bars in the Crawley area and the Brighton area, and in and around Reigate and London in the clubs. It used to work. And I remember, like, it made me it sort of made me into a much better performer, because if you can perform in a nightclub with a lot of people who are pissed up, drunk, probably on every sort of fucking drug under the sun, mate, and you can perform anywhere, because these people are just there to have a good time, and they're slurring their words. And if you can make them impressed and have them stay there and respect what you're doing, then you can perform in front of anyone, mate. And I loved it. And I still say them early days of me learning my trade are really what made me who I am today.
Yeah. Did you face much backlash in that sort of situation? Because I know that some people's opinions on people do magic and stuff like that, some people do fucking hate it. Like, I don't really know why, but I definitely know, like, because people used to do it around the pubs around here sometimes in Yockendo.
They did. I forgot about that.
But I think some people, I genuinely think they have a bit of a complex where, because you can do it and they don't know how, it pisses them off. Do you know what I mean? Like, they get like, why don't I know how to do that? So then they sort of give a bit back. Like, did you ever find any sort of reaction like that, or has it always been quite positive?
No, I've been very, listen, as I said, you're always going to have people who, no matter where I perform, there's always someone, you always get that one person who has done magic in the past and who knows every trick you're going to do. I remember it used to get to a point where I used to pull a deck of cards out like that. Someone said, "Oh, I've seen this trick." And I'm thinking, fucking hell, you must be good. I don't even know what I'm going to do yet. You know what I mean? Like, I've literally just pulled the deck of, I've seen this trick. All right, then what am I going to do? And, to go back to your question where you said, I don't know why people act like that. The reason they do is because they think you're making them look a fool. Yeah. And I say, it's not. I'm not here. I always say at the end, because my act, I like to take the piss big time. I absolutely love to, have a laugh with the audience, get them involved and have a bit of a joke and a giggle. That's my act, and I don't go out to offend people. I've seen some magicians and comedians, and they just rip into someone, and you can see the person is on the borderlines of really like getting up and going or in tears, and then they keep going. I'm not about that. That bloke ain't going to go home and tell his friends that he's had the best night of his life. I go and I have a laugh, but I know when to stop, you know, and I love it when people take the piss out of me. I say, look, if anyone wanted to know what Leighton Baines would have been like if he didn't do football, just look at me. You know what I mean? Like, I have a good laugh with it. And, you know, people all the time, you know, when I performed in the Libertines, I walked on and I said, I remember looking back on the stage and they had the big screen. I went, fuck me, Leighton Baines is looking well these days, isn't he? And they loved it because it's a, you know, I'm always having a laugh and I get everyone involved. But I've never really had, and I'm trying to think, I mean, I've done shitloads of gigs now, but I don't think I've ever had, I mean, as I said, it's just the odd one where geezer knows what you're doing before you do it. And I've done my brother's a magician, is he? He's not that fucking good. That's why I'm here getting paid or something. You know what I mean? But I've never really had anyone get the ump and want to fucking have a row or something over it.
That's just good though. Good.
Like you do, you get people who think you're out to make them look silly and think you're arrogant, and it's not. It's just an act, you know. But no, I've been very fortunate with the crowd I've performed at. I've never had any sort of backlash or anything like that.
Yeah, that is good because there is just some things where people are just fucking bellends about it, and it seems to be from our experiences anyway. But luckily, you've not had any of this backlash for it.
But you know what, mate? You will get that everywhere. You know, like you probably experienced it yourself with your podcast. People might not like maybe the guests you've had or the questions you've answered. People do it with bands. Like, I mean, even at the top level, you know, like I remember when Paul Weller was doing his stuff and he used to get slated for not doing enough jam songs. You're never gonna satisfy everyone. Nah, of course you're not, mate. And the thing is, don't go out thinking you're going to please everyone. No, you know, just do what you can to the best of your ability and leave it as that.
Yeah, that's how we work with all of our stuff.
Good.
Like it just is, you kind of got to ask questions you want to ask, and we're enjoying ourselves. And to be honest, that's all that matters. And you know, you mentioned Paul Weller. I want to get into that story a little bit more because we kind of, when you gave us our rundown right at the start, we didn't get like an in-depth bit. How did that start then? Because that sounded like something that was almost a turning point in your career because it was right at the beginning.
Massively.
How did that all come about? And what was that like? What was that feeling of like when you got home and you'd had this phone call or this initial part? You were like, was it a breath of relief? How did you feel?
It was the point which I think really made me want to be the best I am. You know, it really did make me want to be the best. If I'm a magician, if I'm the magic mod, I'm going to be the best fucking magic mod out there because it happened. I went out on a Friday to play golf with my mates. We played about 2 holes of an 18-hole golf course and then we fucked it off and went down the pub. So we were quite, we went out at about 12 to play golf. We were in the pub by about 1:45. We just couldn't be bothered. And we had a few beers. It's a Friday night. Friday, sorry. And next thing you know, about 6, 7 o'clock, I got a message on my phone saying, Paul Weller, I've heard a lot about you. I would like to meet you and see some of your magic tricks. Just ignored it. I thought it was a load of rubbish, mate, because as you would, wouldn't you? You thought someone was winding you up. About half an hour later, mate, he called me and it was unbelievable. And it did change my life because I've got nothing but love and respect for that man because what he's done for me. I mean, look at this, mate. Oh.
Hello, lost you.
Well, what's happened there? Sorry, mate. I think someone tried to call me then. Are you there?
That's all right. No dramas.
Popular geezer, mate. We can't stop that.
No, I thought I turned that off. Sorry, mate. My fault. Where was I? So, I've got nothing but love and respect for him because he's done something that not many people would do. He's brought a magician into his world and I've met some of my heroes, you know, in and around him. And I've performed, I'm on the credits of one of his fucking albums. How good is that? You know, if you get onto Sunset and you look at old Father Time and you look at, where is it? Oh, I've got it in the vinyl thing down. Wait there. I'll get it. Talk amongst yourself.
Elevator music.
Yeah, do it, mate. Just fucking tell some jokes.
I wish I was musically talented, man. Some dry tones.
Ba, ba, ba.
Oh my God. I feel like that the skit on the Machine Gun Kelly album of him and Pete.
I went to Boots the other day. I said I want a deodorant. She said the ball type. I said no, the one you spray under your arms. Yeah. All right. So, cheers, boys. Nothing like making me feel fucking welcome, is there? So this album here, Onto Sunset, was this went to number 1 as well. So officially, A Magician is in the number 1 album.
Number 1 album.
But
Like it.
it's the work. But this really is the work of a genius. Like this album and the last one, Fat Pop, is he's probably some of his best stuff that he's done, and this is probably, out of all the memorabilia, I've got some lovely stuff that I've been able to get off some heroes. Remind me to mention the Pete Doherty jacket in a minute, because I did another interview and I didn't mention it until after, and then they were like, fucking hell, why didn't you mention that?
Well, don't you worry. I'm going to work my way through the big names. Don't you worry.
So this is one of the albums, and I got him he signed it for me, and where is it? I don't know how I'm going to let you see this. Let me put I will. So on the credits bit, when you go to, where is it? Old Father Time, and just there you got the Magic Mod.
Oh, that's class.
That's fun. Oh yeah,
You got it?
Yeah.
I don't know how it come out on that, boys, but it's what I remember it. I was in the studio with him when he was recording it, and Stan, who was producing the album, said he needs some claps in this bit because it was a bit like it was too longer a pause. He wanted something there, so he said, "Oh, just do some claps." And then Paul just looked at me and was like, "Come on, get in there." And I was like, "Fuck off, get on this." Do you know what I mean? If I'm gonna clap, it's gonna be the best claps in the industry, mate. I'm telling you. And honestly, mate, it was great just to be there, headphones on in the studio with him clapping, doing the clapping. And I thought no more of it, mate. And then one day he messaged me on WhatsApp and he sent me the final print, and it was the credits of that song. And I was like, oh, fuck off! Is my name going to be on the album? And when it come out, I ordered it off his website. I always buy all his work because he supported me, so I'm always going to support him, and that never changed. And I went down to Tesco's as soon as it opened. I went down there, bought it on CD as well, even though I was going to get it, but I wanted it that day. And then. And I looked on it and I saw it, and I was just like, what a moment to have your name in a Paul Weller album. You know, someone I've dreamt of meeting as a child, you know, and now to be a friend. And the thing is, a lot of people who he's around are the same. They've admired him because the guy's a living legend. I mean, how many people have you? And who doesn't know Paul Weller? Yeah, you know, who's not heard of that gentleman? And the stuff he's done, he's from the Jam to the Style Council to solo career. He has done it, and he keeps doing it, and he's the best out. In my opinion, not just saying it. There's a bias. He's the best out there. There's no one else doing what he's doing, mate, and still doing it at his age, mate. It's fucking.
I literally can't get my head around this because I'm like, imagine Liam Gallagher basically DMs us now and is like, "Oh, I like your podcast. Like, can I come on?
Yeah, can you come over and show us how you do it and get us on a piece?"
Like what the fuck could we do?
In the same,
I'd be like, you would never, and then not only to go from that, but go over and do it, and then end up friends with the bloke and be in the recording studio with the guy and being on one of his albums and being like friends with him. That's like
you never know though, do you?
The pinnacle. Like you can't write something like that, can you?
And that's what I mean, mate. For me, like when people say to me, how high do you want to go now? I'm like, do you know what? I will keep on climbing that ladder. But for me, I've achieved all I've wanted to now.
Yeah.
You know, I've met every single one of the heroes. Phil Daniels, Quadrophenia. I've got a picture of signed photo up there of him. Paul Weller, one up there. Paul Daniels and Liam Gallagher, you know, and Pete Doherty. You know, like I've met people who as a child, I used to love their music, idolized their magic, and loved watching them on the big screen, you know. So there isn't much more that could happen. I mean, the next thing is I would love my own little TV show. I'd love to, but that's something that's been going on with people for a while, long talks and that. But who knows, maybe one day that might happen again.
I think it'd make a really good, your story would be really well like written into a cinematography sort of film. Like just even if it was a 45-minute film, I'd be really fascinated.
Say that? That's where this little fucking bad boy comes out. Get a plug on this, boys, eh? Stick that fucking elevator music on again.
Yeah. We can't.
No, I ain't good. Just replay the bit earlier. Elliot,
I've got this.
Please replay the bit.
We did this. I think this was filmed 2000. Oh, hang on. I've got the premiere poster on my wall out here. This was in. Fuck me, lights went off. 2016 was the premiere of this documentary, the Magic Mod documentary. Basically, it is literally about my career. And Vicky McClure from Line of Duty, she's in it. Paul Weller's in it. Chris Ramsey's in it. Johnny Owen's in it. There's some. I mean, do you know what I mean? To bring out that.
That's unreal. That's really cool.
Your first thing, and to have people like that is a dream come true. And I mean, look at the disc as well. I mean, fucking get on that.
Superb.
Where can we get that? Is it still available?
Do you know what? Right, we've put it on hold at the moment because we're hoping to do something special with it, but again, that's in talks. But hopefully sooner rather than later, something will be coming of this. But do you know what? When we did start knocking these out, I couldn't. The response was phenomenal, and I think it was more to the point that people wanted to know about the story rather than the people who were on it. You know, they wanted to see how it all started and that, and still to this day, that's one of my greatest achievements as well, because it's
get it on Netflix, mate. That's where the money is.
Yeah, mate. You never know, man. You never know. But that's I mean, to be fair, mate, I tell you now, there is some shit things on Netflix, and I tell you now that ain't. I'm not just being biased, but I think people would enjoy watching that, and I haven't had any negative reviews. Probably the only sort of negative review I got is someone said they wanted it to be a little bit longer because they really wanted to see a bit more. And you know, if anything, that's a compliment.
Yeah,
that didn't bore people.
Yeah, so you're looking to try and do. I know you probably can't talk about it too much, but you're looking to try and do like a showing of it. Part of the thing,
maybe.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what.
No, we've done. Do you know what? We've done premieres. We've done a premiere in London, and we've done a premiere in Belfast, Northern Ireland. A place I absolutely love, and the bloke who done the documentary, Ali Mackenzie, big love to him and a shout out to him, who actually, I think he got married today. So it was lovely to see him happy, because he's a fantastic director, and he's someone who I've got, again, so much love and respect for, because he come into my environment. He come down here and done filming, stayed with me for a while, and we went up to Brighton, done filming. I got him probably a bit too pissed up on the final night, but you know, that's what happens.
Isn't it? Well, we're going.
You know what I mean? I mean, there's worse things that happen, isn't there? But it was good, man. You know, he's a nice guy, and I've always met lovely people in this industry, and I know there's a lot of arseholes in there, but I'm so grateful to have met some of the nicest people.
Now, speaking of lovely people, I was
going to say the same thing.
The Libertines.
Yeah.
We'll move on through to the next stage of what happened in this chronological order that you told us about earlier. Let's talk that. How did that come about? How does that come into your calendar then? What's the crack?
So that happened, the going on the tour? I mentioned the going on the tour.
Yeah. But how does that, how do they hear of you? Where does the initial spark of that connection come from?
I met Carl at one of his DJ nights and performed a few tricks to him, and we exchanged numbers, and we spent a lot of time with each other on nights out sometimes. And in fact, I met one night, I saw him, and we bumped into Liam Gallagher as well, which was a very eventful night, and it was lovely to meet Liam and perform some magic to him. And I got this fucking fantastic photo of me and him shaking hands like that, like after I did a trick, and then someone took a photo of him hugging me, and like photos like that. It was just there, like right at the moment. Do you know what I mean? Like you could have timed it to perfection if you tried, but did all that, mate. And going off the record now. So that's how it happened, really. And the Libertines, if you think about it, they always do stuff that's different. Now they've had poets with Jack Jones from Trampoline, and back in the day, because Pete is he's so very well educated, as everyone knows anyway, but he knows everything about the old, like the industry in the old days. And what they used to do is they used to have a magician, a poet, and a musician. And it always used to be the poet first, then the magician, and then the magician would shut it off. And he absolutely loved the idea of having a magician. And that's how it happened, mate. And as they say, the rest is history, because it just worked. And some of the best times of my life were on that tour bus. And still to this day, you know, like getting back there, when I talk about it, you have to find yourself pinching yourself and thinking, fuck me, did that actually happen? Like, did I perform in front of like that many people and not get booed? You know, did I perform there and not get a drink thrown at me? Did this happen? Did that happen? Like, it's incredible, mate. And as I say, I think it's due to the fact that I'm a fan myself. You know, it's just like, it's all a family, isn't it? If you support the same music, if you listen to the same music, it's like you've known the person for the rest of your life, or you know the person already. If that makes sense. You're like a family. You all listen. You all go to the same church. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That's the way I like to look at things.
I like that. I do like that a lot. And I think I want to ask about Pete Doherty in particular, because I just think for both of us, he's a bit of like
he's an icon,
bit of an idol for us. And I think like especially like our generation, like there is no one bigger. I mean, there's like Liam Gallagher really that has been in terms of, because I think because of Anthems of Doom Youth, it kept Libertines going.
That was for me
our level.
Yeah, like that album for me was one of them albums that really kind of gripped me in. Like I grew up playing basketball and stuff and was more down the hip hop R&B route, but the Anthems of Doomed Youth really pulled me across to the like almost like anthemic guitar music. So to me, he is one of my idols, and I also love how articulate he is and artistic.
Bloke's a genius, mate. Bloke's an absolute genius, you know. And there ain't many people like him in the industry with that sort of songwriting ability. The bloke, and I say it many times when I've been on stage doing like my Q&As with like for instance Helen McGee, and obviously who had a big influence in the Libertines in the early days with creation. And I mentioned that the guy is an absolute genius, you know. And you take away the bad publicity, and fuck me, what a force to be reckoned with. Because a lot of people, you say Pete Doherty, and straight away they will think about the negative stuff, right? When really, if you strip that all away, he is probably, if not one of the best songwriters this generation, or forget that this generation, he's probably one of the best songwriters from this world, you know, out of this world, in the whole world. Like, he is unbelievable. And that's his solo stuff. His last album with the Puta Madres, right? Some of the music on there is incredible. Like, it blows my mind how he doesn't get the sort of I wouldn't say the recognition, because if you know, it's one of them people who know how good he is. But I think he needs to be. I mean, look, he's done it all with the Libertines. You know, they performed on the biggest stages in the world and all that. But he just
even bigger.
When people say to me, "Who's the best songwriter in the world?" I go, Paul Weller, Noel Gallagher, and Pete Doherty. There is no in between. You know, people go, "Yeah, the Beatles," and all right, but listen to what I'm saying. That the Paul Weller has still been doing it since he was like 13, 14, writing absolute bangers after bangers after bangers. Noel Gallagher wrote a song in 2 minutes or less than 2 minutes, which ended up being a number one, which ended up being like an anthem for people that people still sing to this day. You know, wrote it in 2 fucking minutes. Mate, I spent 2 minutes. It takes me longer to go on the toilet. You know, I couldn't do 2 minutes. What could you do in 2 minutes? It was incredible. Pete Doherty, his lyrics, everyone can relate to. Yeah. Everyone can relate to. When he's had times where you think music where the lights go out, you listen to them music. You're My Waterloo. What else? What a Waster. I mean, fucking hell, what a tune that is. What a tune that is. You know, and
I think
incredible.
And when you look through all music greats and artistically talented people, whether it be in music, whether it be in actual like physical painting and sculptures and stuff like that, they all have had their own gripes and troubles that they've gone through their life, and that's what they've portrayed in things like even when you look back at, so I'm massive into my jazz as well, and you look back at your Niall Davis, your Nat King Cole's, your Miles Davis, your John Coltrane's, and all people like that, they all had very similar troubles. And Pete Doherty's in that same category of these geniuses of musician and art.
Oh,
and I
Christ, mate.
And everyone has them gripes. I think when your mind's that way inclined, and there isn't many people that can go through this world with that sort of brain and be able to not go through the bad as well as the good. And I think, you've got to take that away from the art that's created to some extent. And I think for him as well, being so intelligent and articulate just kind of holds upon its own. Like, I don't understand when people are like, oh, all this negative press, and they bring it up and like tarnish his name with it. It's, for me, I don't like, see mate. how you can even use them in the same sentence, just sheerly because of it's some shit he's been through. Like, I just can't get my head around it. There is something about him. There's an aura about him that fascinates me to a point of, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, he's one of them people. There's some people in this world that I wish I'd interviewed before, that are like before our time. Like, Nat King Cole, I would have loved to have done. I would have loved to have done John Lennon. I would have loved to have done some of these real iconic people. And Pete Doherty, he's on my list for sure of needing to get in on the podcast. But he is so fascinating as a character that, like, it entices everybody. He's such a, I don't know, he seems to be such a lovable human.
Oh, he's lovable. And I say now, he's one of the funniest fuckers I've ever met in my life. His sense of humour is unbelievable, mate. I've got some great memories on being on tour with them guys. And it was just a laugh a minute, mate. A laugh a second. Like, everything was just funny.
What I think that's, and you're the best insight to have on here. Like, what was him and the rest of Libertines really like on that bus, on some nights out? Is just it friends. Everything you expect it's it like, to be?
No. And I would never I'd never portray it to be anything like that, other than, it was just a group of friends on a bus having a good time, enjoying what they were doing. And at the same time, they were making music together. He was writing most of the time, and Carl was practicing. And it was just a great place to be around, man. And it was just like going out with your friends, all these people thinking that it's fucking, like, as mad as what it was in like the 90s and shit like the 80s and shit like that. Fucking hell, man. Listen, it's not like that. I mean, everyone enjoys themselves, but this was just a great environment to be into, where many a times we'd be stopping off at food places, grabbing food, chilling out, watching DVDs. Sometimes someone would be reading poetry. Sometimes I'll be teaching people card tricks on the bus. You know what I mean? It's not a fucking 24-hour party like the Happy Mondays and all that. It was just a fucking lovely place to be in. A great environment, and something that I learned a lot on there. It was so spiritual to be around some of the best in the industry.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's what I was going to ask you next. Like, do you feel that, because I always say, like, I've got this kind of mantra that I live my life by, that you are an accumulation of the closest 10 people to you and the people you surround yourself with. And I think in that period of time of your career, you obviously had surrounded yourself with some really incredible, talented and forward-thinking people. Do you find that has been what set you apart from everyone else, because you all rub off on each other on these close encounters and stuff like that? Do you think that's what's almost...
Well, I think so, mate. Yeah.
Now,
I mean, you hang around with people who... Someone said a quote today. I listened to that James English podcast, and he said something like, "Don't judge me by my success, judge me by..." No, it's not that. It was, you could tell where I'm going by my friend, but you could tell where in life I'm going. You can judge where I'm going by the friends I've chosen, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? He's absolutely nailed it on the head. And I've got a great group of friends around me. A lot of people are into music. A lot of people are doing jobs and working hard and are successful, And I've got a good family around me.
Yeah.
And, you got that. And it's just a recipe for going on to doing stuff, I mean, I've got some fantastic people around me, and it makes me just want to succeed even more. And of course, if you hang around with positive people who are all just want to succeed and be the best they are, it rubs off, mate. You know, if
for sure.
you hang around with people who all they want to do is go on the piss every day and, you know, go down a betting shop and fucking wank off to Pop Idol or something, then, you know, you're not really going to achieve anything in life, are you? And as I say, every single one of my friends from round in Crawley area to people I used to go to school with, every single one has been nothing but supportive, and they've believed in the dream that I had, which was to go out and be the best I am. So I think your friends can make and break you, but if they support you, they certainly get you up that ladder a lot easier, mate.
Definitely. And that's a lovely message, and it would be a perfect place to move on, but we've got to ask you about Pete Doherty's jacket now, because you've told us. So
oh yeah. When we performed at Plymouth, I had this pretty green trench coat. I think I had it for about 2 weeks or so. It was the fucking bollocks, mate. Like, they don't do these ones anymore, but it had the paisley all inside and all up the collar and shit. I think I paid like $150 or something like that. Or it was $200, but I got $150 because I got a discount from the shop or something like that. I can't quite remember, but it's irrelevant how much it was. And Pete liked the jacket. And I'll tell you the shorter version. We just ended up swapping jackets, and I ended up getting his iconic red jacket, but his actual red jacket. And
fuck off.
You know, he actually gave it to me. He said, "This is the jacket I've worn on stage. I've had this for about 10, 12 years or something." And it's the actual jacket. And I've got him. Cole signed it. Pete signed it. Gary signed it, and John signed it. The whole band signed it on the inside, and I've got it. Put it this way, it's locked away at the moment, somewhere special, but
fucking hell,
you can't get much better than that, mate. You know, like, there's people out there who have got replicas of the jacket, shall we say, and they're happy, which is good because it's not a competition. But to actually have something that he's worn for a long time and given to me. And the reason I got it personally signed to the Magic Mod is because I'm never going to sell it. And because this was on one of the second nights or something I was with him, you know, people still getting to know me. Cole knew me, but people still getting to know me. So I said, look, I'm going to get you to sign that to me because I'm never going to sell that. So it's got to the Magic Mod. I mean, it says Plymouth 2017, Big Love Pete Doherty, to the Magic Mod, Plymouth 2017, Big Love Pete Doherty. And then it's got Cole. It says something like Love You Brother. Picture of a guitar, Carl Barrett, Gary. I think he just put Yes Brother or something like that, or Magic, and then John put something like Absolute Magic and signed it. And fuck me, that's got to be one of the best bits ever, because that's something that everyone knows, the red jacket. You know, everyone can relate. You know, you wear a red jacket and you wear a red jacket to a gig, people immediately know that you're into Libertines.
Yeah.
You know? And it's an iconic piece. That is an iconic piece.
That would be some fucking night, mate, when you break it out and put it on and go somewhere in it. That would be fucking
fuck me, ridiculous. Mate. I'd never wear that in my life, mate. I would never put that on in my life. Now and then I have a look at it, but I'm going to try and get it. I've got some lovely bits of memorabilia that me and the missus want to try and get around the house. Like, put it on display. And I think she's got an idea of putting it in this big glass cabinet. Having it in the front room or something. But
yeah, you could almost like hang it up on like some shoulder pads so you can see the sign.
That's what I was thinking, in this glass box, mate. And I've got one of his harmonicas he gave to me. I've got a playing card that actually, the playing card's there. You can't really see it, but he's like doodled on it and then signed it to me. So that'd be nice to have. I've got loads of nice little bits of memorabilia from that tour, like champagne cork bottles when we ended the tour. Loads of good stuff, mate. Loads of good stuff.
You're at the point where people would pay good money just to come into your house and have a little rummage around what you got.
Well, someone said to me, you know, if you ever were to sell that, you would get some hefty money for it. And I just said, well, why would I? Because if someone was to buy this off me, right, they wouldn't have the same story. How did you get that? We bought it off some magician. Yeah, but how did he get that? Oh, well, that's the story.
That's the story.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, you could almost do like a little like. You could almost do like a little like museum-y type.
That's what I'm saying. Like charge £10 and they can come and have a little peek in it and then fuck off again. That's the way to make your money.
Yeah, well, nah. I mean, to be fair, mate, I'm not. it's just, for me, it's memories that, you know, I've got some, as I say, I've got some great bits. I've got a shirt in there that Paul Weller gave to me when he first met me, and it's from his first clothing range. It don't fit me anymore now because of lockdown. I've either bulked up a bit of a unit now, that'll do. We'll just leave it as that. It don't fit me now, but it looks, I used to be like a small. Now I'm like a medium and a medium large, you know, medium/large. But this shirt, I'm never going to get rid of that because that's one of the first things he gave to me when I first met him from his clothing range. And to have that, fucking hell, man. I mean, what an honor. I've got some lovely bits. And as I said, for a magician, I ain't had a bad career, mate. You know, I've made some great memories, met some lovely people, performed in some lovely venues, made some amazing friends. What more could you want? What I've got, someone said to me today, I was speaking to someone, I did a gig at the weekend with Rachel Ruddock and former professional boxer who was fourth in the world at one point, Ben Jones, good friend of mine, and the bloke who put the event on, he said, do you know what, you've got so many good stories as well. People were so interested in hearing about you. And I was like, I have, but I don't want to be on that stage talking about my stories because my stories are something that I like to bring out when people do either a podcast or an interview or stuff like that. But at the same time, I do want people to hear about them because they're so fucking great. So maybe one day I would like to write a book because they're, you know, well, not personally, but I've had people say, would you write a book? If someone sat down with me, yeah, because the stories I've got, just they need to be told, like how I got onto the tours, how I met these people, how this and that, how, you know, it's incredible, mate. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And then you get stories that I just want to keep to myself because they're personal. I've had people before say, well, why don't you tell these stories? Is there something people shouldn't know? And I'm thinking, look, fuck off. You're not the Sun. For starters, I would never go out and tell stories that shouldn't be told anyway. But I like to keep stories personal because if everyone knows about the story, then it's not a personal story, is it?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, like I've had some advice off my heroes, which has stuck with me. And I remember being just before I went to go on stage, and someone said to me this amazing bit of advice. And when I went out there, that stuck with me. And then I performed probably one of the best shows I did because I had this advice in my head. Now that is going to stick with me to the day I die because that's something that you didn't expect it. It just happened. And the feeling I had when I heard that bit of advice was like, right, this is it now. Bang, perform the show. And you go out there and smash the back doors out of it. You know what I mean? There's nothing else. It's just incredible, mate.
Incredible. I've got one more question I want to ask because I'm conscious of time.
Go on, my friend.
A quick fire one, really. I just want to know, because we've spoken about what's coming next and this sort of stuff. You've met fucking everyone. Can you give me a name of someone you haven't met yet and you'd love to and get involved with and become friends with and perform for before? Is there another name that you're after?
There's a few people I haven't met. You know, I've been fortunate to meet your Sean Riders, your Liam Gallagher, your Ronnie Wood, your Paul Weller, the Bruce Foxton, the whole cast, the fucking Quadrophenia, Jesus Christ. Like a lot of footballers, obviously the Libertines, the Rifles. I've met so many amazing people, mate. And to me, I'm not one of these people who goes really fanny because end of the day, everyone's the same. I treat everyone the same as you know, like they're just fortunate enough to be there. Like people who work hard will be at the very top if they work hard. The thing is, these days, people don't want to work hard. People want other people to do it for them. And this is a great quote that I heard from, I think it was Goldie, the DJ, the MC, who used to do the graffiti as well. And he said, a lot of bands in like the R&B or a lot of DJs, they will say, listen to this, right? They're sending him stuff and he goes, well, why do I want that? You want me to do all the hard work. You want me to post this out there, or you want me to try and send this to a record label or something like that. People these days don't go out there and fucking like, bang, this is my mixtape. Like he said, I'd prefer it if people found where I was, give me a mixtape and say, this will blow you fucking away, mate. You're going to love this. You know, I think people are a bit scared to get out their comfort zones these days. And I know there's a great quote that someone said, why would I want to get out of my comfort zone? I'm happy where I am. The thing is, if you get out of that comfort zone, you don't know what you could achieve. You know, I was happily in the comfort zone, and then I got out of it, and the stuff I've achieved it even blows my mind. You know, you've got to go out there and work hard, whether that's being a fucking magician, a band member, even if you're working in a shop, right? Are you going to be happy? Would you, if you're settled just being at the shop and you just do the same role, or would you like to get up there and think, right, now I'm a shop assistant, I'm going to be a manager, I'm going to be a shop manager. It doesn't matter what you do in life. If you work hard, you will get anywhere. You will get to the very top if you wanted to. Nothing. What's stopping you? People think these days every industry is corrupt, or I can't get there. No, I don't want to even try. No, maybe it's because you're too lazy to try. If you really believed in yourself, fucking do it, mate. What's the worst that can happen? If I try and if I push myself to as much as I can and I fail, then I fail. The thing is, the least I could say to my kids one day, do you know what? I tried. I did the best I could. I wasn't quite at that level, but I tried. And as I say, I think people are a bit too scared to really push themselves these days. And don't get me wrong, there are some fantastic new bands coming out. I would like to see a lot of people really fucking push themselves and get out of a comfort zone and just go, right, do you know what? This is what we're going to do. We're going to smash it up and mix it up a bit. Definitely mix it up a bit.
Make it unique. That's the best way to stand out, is you got to just do what you're doing, work hard at it.
How many times, you've probably heard it yourself, how many times have you heard the band look the same as fucking probably Oasis and sound similar to the Stone Roses?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or look like Stone Roses and sound like Oasis, or look like Blur and sound like the... You see it so many times. I want someone to be fucking different. I mean, look at that band. You must have seen them on Twitter. He did all the covers, but they did like...
Deco.
Fucking great. And
they've been on the podcast. They're the boys. They're sound.
Yeah, I quite like the front guy, the geezer with the bins and that. Like he seems like a nice guy, and he's got a lovely voice. And remember they followed me.
He's a top lad. He's a really good lad.
He seems lovely. I wouldn't mind having a drink with him because he seems like a nice geezer. But I quite like that band, and I definitely would love to go and see them soon. But look at what they did. They did something so different, and look at how it worked. Like, what did they do? Wonderwall and was it Small Town Boy or something like that?
Yeah.
Was that what it was? Look at that.
Yeah.
Fucking blew the internet, near enough broke the internet at one point. Liam Gallagher saw it, Radio X saw it. Like, that is what you want.
They were on like GMB and fucking...
Literally within...
That's what I mean, mate. One day, whether or not they were pissed up or whatever, and they thought, you know what, we're going to try this. It fucking worked.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to hear the full story
of how they came into it, there is a podcast that we did last season with them where they described the story when they told us how it kind of went down.
You'll like it, mate. Check it out.
Oh, I remember that. I listened to that. No, don't make me feel bad. You know what I mean? I didn't. But I love what they do, and I think, do you know what? Do something different. If you do something different, you're halfway there, aren't you?
You know what I mean? And you got to stand out. You've got to keep grinding for it. You ain't got to stop, because realistically, nothing in this world is fucking free. And if it means while you're young, never get comfy until you retire. If it means while you're young, you've got to do 60 hours a week, 70 hours a week.
Exactly.
That's what you got to fucking do. That's what we do here. We both have full-time jobs, and we literally, we put hours in after work, and we're up till 2-3 o'clock in the morning just to graft this and do this, because it's what we enjoy doing. It's what we love to do. And I think that's what a lot of people have got to take that, and, like, you know, not saying that we've achieved anywhere near what you have, but we have only been doing this for a year.
Not about that.
We're still in a position where we would have never have believed where we are now to when we started. Like, when we started, it was literally on fucking Zoom. We spoke about this in like the first episode of this season, and, you know, we were on Zoom talking fucking waffle, chatting shit. Then by the end of the second season, we were interviewing Dan Haggis from the Wombats, which for us is like was a massive thing. And, you know, we're now got friendships with bands that we wouldn't have even thought about even messaging, let alone now being mates with, and, like, you know, chatting on a regular basis. And it's, you know, people have just got to put their fucking head down, get doing, keep going. And social media now, like, you just keep grafting at it. It's free. It's got to keep grafting, and you'll get there. I love the grind. To be fair, as well, I just enjoy it.
That's it, mate. And do you know what? Right? I know it's a bit morbid, but as soon as we're born, someone said you're dying straight away. You're always you're sort of on a time bomb. You know, I don't mean this to put a dampener on the show, but you don't know what's around the corner. If you put something off, you know, there's a saying about being a tomorrow man. You know, if you've got enough hours in the day to start something, do you know what? I'll do it tomorrow. Well, why not start it today? You know, it's about. I remember telling this band about it. So get yourself an Instagram page. No, it was a clothing brand. I said, get yourself an Instagram page. Get yourself a Twitter page. And you don't know, I'll do it tomorrow. Do it now. You never know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? And you just got to push yourself. And the thing is, in this day and age, mate, no one's going to do it for you. You've got to be your own manager. And the thing is, I manage myself, and I've managed to doing it really well. I'm not, you know, I'm not like your big, like, fucking Simon Cowell sort of managers, you know what I mean? He's a successful person. But for me personally, being a magician, the stuff I've achieved, I'm happy with what I've made myself do. But that's all to what you just said, mate, and you nailed it. You know, you go out. I remember having a fucking job at the airport, right? And that evening I went on a show. I did a show on Sky, and I finished the airport at 5 o'clock. I got straight on the train from the airport, changed as I was on the way to the studio. I did this show, which was 9 till 10:30. And then I was back at the airport at 5 o'clock in the morning the next day to then do 5 till 5. And this was something that went on for a long time when I was 18, 19 to 20, even doing landscape gardening. One day I was performing on Soccer AM. Remember that? That was back in 2014, 2013, something like that. Next day I was doing a fucking fence. A private job on a Sunday, you know, helping someone out. Like, It doesn't matter. People these days, I admire people. There's a lot of bands out there who have to go out and survive. I still do a little bit of a part-time job. People think, oh no, he's doing all right. Look at what he's achieved. It's not about that. You get out there to get yourself as much, to just fucking work as much as you can, because in this industry, you need to have something else to do to keep yourself mentally sane.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Completely do, to be fair. I think that's inspiration to everyone, and I think everyone listening to this, it's a great example. And you could easily sit there and be like, oh, I like music, but I do magic, so I'll never get into it, fuck it. And you're a prime example to be like, well, no, you know. And that's kind of what we've done. We'd love to be a band. We literally would love to be a fucking band, but it's never going to fucking happen, because there's not a musical bone in my body. You've probably got 3 out of 200. And so we've gone, fuck that, we'll do this instead. And I feel like it's a similar vein of like, oh, if I can't be a band on stage, I'll do a magic on stage.
You're being an entertainer.
We can't be a band on stage. So do you know what? We'll fucking interview them, and we'll be entertainers on stage at some point in a different way, and do it in our own way. And yeah, hopefully that's the same. If you're listening to this and, you know, you want to get involved in something, but you think you just can't, you know, just fucking
There'll
be a way to do it.
You only get one life, mate. Might as well enjoy it.
I like that.
Absolutely. Well, I feel like we could keep fucking going for hours, man.
We could do a part 2 like now, like just cut and just keep going for 2 hours, mate. Honestly, I
do genuinely think at some point when we get a chance, like, we'll have to do something in person and get a part 2 going. But like, more than welcome. Pleasure having you on, mate.
Pleasure's all mine, boys.
We do one last thing before we kind of wrap up the show, and we ask the person that we're interviewing, if they're listening to an up and coming band that they want to give a proper shout out that's not getting any publicity, not getting the publicity that they deserve. So is there an artist that you're listening to at the moment that you're really loving that you think needs to get a little bit more press or a little bit more light towards?
Probably Little Mix.
Underrated, to be fair.
Region, there's a couple, mate. I'm not going to name them all. I'll name a couple that I don't normally mention. I mean, obviously, you got your Slow Time Mondays who you've had on here.
Yeah.
I like them because they're Crawley boys as well. Some of their Barnets are a bit fucking dodgy, but then again, they can't have it all. Fuck me. Yeah.
Coming from Leighton Baines over here, that's shocking as well.
Hey, listen, you look like the geezer from fucking, what's it, this country or something. You know what I mean? What's his name? Curtin.
I know who that is.
Yeah, absolutely killed him there, haven't I?
Yeah, you've done it right there, actually.
Do you know that?
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, this country, to be fair, so do I. If my hair falls down, I actually look like the
Get on
cunt.
that. It's fuck it. I knew it was him. To be fair, he's a lovely lad. He's actually a Fulham fan, Charlie, and I'm quite good friends with him because we both support Fulham, and he's a lovely, lovely lad. Going off the subject, what was the question?
Mondays.
Yeah, Barnett's as well. Yeah. So, mate, come back. It's not that. Oh, fuck me. Get on them shorts.
That was rude as fuck.
Yay!
Oh, man. He's been bouncing around his room showing his whole fucking museum tonight. I couldn't grab my phone off the table.
Get on them shorts. No, keep that bit in. Yeah, Regency as well. Dino from the Rifles. Very, very lovely, talented guy. And I've got a lot of love and respect for him. And he's a fantastic musician who goes out, obviously, on tour with Suggs and still works with the Rifles. And Regency is him and his brother. And if you haven't heard of them, I recommend you listening to them because he did something like he brought out 9 singles in 9 months or something like that. It was either 9 in 9 weeks or 9 in 9 months. I think it was 9 in 9 months. And brilliant. And I think he's going to bring out an album. And as I said, everyone loves Dino. Everyone loves Dino. You know, he's just a lovely, lovely bloke. And yeah, Regency, Slow Time Mondays. Is there anyone else? Let me just have a think. No, probably not. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. When I get off this, I'll probably think, fuck, I should have said them or them because there's so many good up and coming bands that I am listening to at the moment. But when you're on the spot, sometimes you forget. But they were on the top of my head.
Cool. Well, we'll run through 1 or 2 we've got, and then if anyone else jumps in your head, then just shout.
Yeah.
On, Joe. You got any?
I want to give 2 a quick shout out. One is one small one that I found called The Perps, who are a Manchester-based band. The Perps, Perps, The Perps.
Okay, that's cool.
They're really small Manchester band. They released a song called Lucky Ones literally like a few weeks ago. And I absolutely love that song.
Yeah,
are
they on Spotify?
Yeah. They're on Spotify. I'll send you the link on Instagram after if you want. So
yeah, sure, man. I'm more than happy to listen to new music.
Yeah, you'll like them. You'll definitely like them. They're proper like indie rock, but really upbeat. And that's what I've been into at the moment. It's just like proper like upbeat stuff that you can sing along to in the car and that. And it's proper something like that. But their new one, Lucky Ones, is really good. But they need a little bit more recognition. And then I think another one that I want to shout out that doesn't need any more recognition, but I just want to sort of mention them, is the Lathams.
Oh, a fucking album
because
they brought out, man.
They've announced their debut album. They are like the biggest up-and-coming band around at the moment, and they're going to be huge. That album's going to be number 1. They're brilliant, but they're getting a lot of this hate that I fucking hate, where because they're doing well, people are trying to sort of dig at it and trying to drag them down when everything they're doing everything fucking perfectly.
If they keep doing what they do, mate, then no one... Listen, if they keep doing what they're doing, then I say let the hate continue because they're obviously doing something right.
But listen, they're doing everything right, and they announced that album. They dropped 1,000 signed limited edition vinyls, which is sick. That sold out instantly, amazing. They then that day at the weekend they went down to Wigan Market and they sold this album in person at Wigan Market last minute. You could rock up, buy limited edition merch, meet the lads, they'll sign it for you. Fucking class. Like they don't have to be doing any of that shit. They could drop an announcement with a tweet, say, oh, album's coming out, buy it, and disappear. But they didn't. They did all these fucking really cool limited edition vinyls and stuff. They're getting down Wigan Market and meeting the fans. They're talking about it with people. And I just think they're doing it right. And I like to say, and there's so many people saying they're not doing it right, but they are. So everyone else shut the fuck up and go buy it because that album's going to be fucking beautiful.
I do 100% agree, but I have to say one fucking thing about how amazing the artwork on the vinyl is because it's, have you seen it?
I'm going to hold my hands up. No, I haven't.
The vinyl, right? It is a black and white print of their like day down at the beach, right? And these are, it's from one of their videos and it is stop-start like clips of the day. So as it spins, it plays the film. So it is literally like
on the vinyl
animation. So each section, it literally sections. So as it spins, it shows you the clip.
I tried to buy it, but
that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's fucking unbelievable.
But they did a limited edition vinyl that literally does. Yeah, it plays the video as it spins because it's like
what's like a frame? It does it. It clips every frame.
What you mean. Yeah.
Like what they
section of
it is so.
For each track, there is a like different frame, like section of the video that is in that frame. They do it frame by frame as the disc spins. It's fucking amazing.
Genius. And that record company, they gave that limited edition design to Blood Records, I think it is, who are they're local to Wigan. So gave them this vinyl that only they can sell, which fucking helps them out massively.
And they've done some belter ones. They did Stanley's pale blue one that they released, and they've done loads of bits like that. They're fucking class.
So no, they're doing everything right. And yeah, they're not ones that need shouting out in particular, but because everyone knows that they fucking are already in this scene. But they're doing everything right. So go support them.
Yeah.
Stop fucking saying they're not, because
that's really
go on then, mate. What's your two?
Yeah, it's really annoying.
That's really annoyed you.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell. Bless him. Well, I've got a couple. I want to shout out just sheerly because of I've shouted them out before, but I want to kind of give one of them I've shouted out before, but I want to give like a real like shout out to this one again. And it's Somebody's Child. Right? We've spoke about him a couple of times before, but Somebody's Child has now released a track called Crazy. And it's fucking mega. It's like Sam Fender sort of big. Like it sounds big. It sounds Radio 1 ready, but it just doesn't have that support. Like it don't have that real push behind it, like that radio push. And I really think it deserves it. So I want to really give a shout out to them. And I also want to give a shout out to Mom Rock.
Oh, as soon as you put that in the playlist, I was like, I know what this is going to be.
Yeah, it's not pop punk, but it's more of it's an American style rock and roll sort of vibe, which I'm really into at the moment. The American style stuff, I think, is starting to kind of bleed its way across a little bit, and I think it's an alternative genre, which is it feels quite refreshing in a sense in the UK scene. So to kind of hear these bands from the States, and actually I'm coming across them as an independent UK page, like I feel it's really important. So I want to shout out them with their single that they released, that Till One of Us Stops Lying. And I really love that tune. So I added that in the playlist as well. I think it's a belter. And to be fair, Baby Lungs' new track.
Yeah.
Baby Lungs' new track is a band that's local to us. Hold Me.
Carl Faulkner's new album.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, very good. He's been a bit of a supporter for my work as well, so it's only right to mention his album as well. Because, he's brought one out, and I think it's class.
Love it. Right, well, all of them will be tagged and shouted out as they normally are. Definitely. So show the love for all them bands. And the Magic Mod, thank you very much. It's been an absolute
not a problem.
Pleasure, mate, to chat to you.
Pleasure's all mine. It's
been brilliant. So, where can people find you if they don't follow you already?
I'm not going to give you my fucking address. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Where do you shop?
You know what? Yeah, probably around Belfast now because I've managed to move over there for a bit. But
Slow Time Mondays lads mentioned that. That's cool.
Yeah, man. We Instagram, Twitter on Taylor Mod. Because I use my Twitter a lot for Magic Mod Mondays. Facebook, don't really use that. It's full of people depressing, taking pictures of fucking cups of tea and, how burnt is my toast out of 5 and shit like that. So I'm not really into Facebook. Twitter and Instagram is my cup of tea, or www.themagicmod.com. And that's my website for it, recent up-and-coming gigs and previous gigs I've done.
Beautiful stuff. Lovely. Go check him out. And thank you all for listening. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, make sure you subscribe. Leave a like and a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I don't know whether they've got a comment section yet. If not, make sure you just fucking subscribing on there. Put the bell on, and we'll see you all very soon. Take care. Peace.